to the High Point Raceway in the town of Mount Morris, just a few miles from the West Virginia border, for our coverage of round 3 of the AMA Chevy Trucks U.S. National Motocross Championship Series. And for 25 years now, they've been holding this event at this racetrack. For the past couple of weeks, the riders have been out west in California. Now they start their swing through the East Coast, and Mother Nature already playing a role here, David. It rained throughout the afternoon. It's made for a pretty muddy racetrack here.
Yeah, the track is actually in pretty good shape considering how much rain they've had. They've done a great job with bulldozers so far, but still there are spots out there that are terrible. 2 feet deep in mud, and the first lap's going to be very interesting for the guys that don't get a good start. It changes everything, the way they set up the motorcycles, the way the riders are able to ride out there picking lines. Well, you might as well not worry about it because you can pretty much go anywhere. The bikes do get heavier, though, as they go around the track and collect mud, so the mechanics have to be really on the ball to take all the precautionary measures to make sure the bike can finish as well as handle well.
A lot of things can go wrong in the mud. What about the major players, having said all of that? Ricky Carmichael, without question, the biggest name in the sport right now. He has not had much success, though, at this track in the past.
No, in fact, other than the first round of the series a couple of weeks ago at Glen Helen, the first time he's been off the podium since last year here in the same conditions. So Ricky has been about unstoppable until you take him into the mud. Now, there's other riders that have a good time in the mud. Sebastian Tortelli, who is leading the series, has been very strong. Also, riders like David Vuillemin, a taller rider, also from France, does excellent in the mud, as well as Kevin Windham. So, still comes down to the start. If you can't get off in the top 5, you can't even see where you're going after the first lap.
250s getting set for the first moto of the day. Right now, let's take a look at the Chevy Trucks track map.
You see right there the start off to the right, the uphill left-hand sweeper. It's been the same for years. The rest of the track hasn't changed much. All they've done is cut down some trees so the spectators can see better. But the section right here we want to highlight, Davey Coombs is going to take us for a ride through there.
Hey, here's the step down. You gotta take this and get a rhythm going. You want to get your front wheel over as many as you can. Keep your back end from kicking up. Caution maybe an end of little stadium section. No rhythm through there for me, guys, sorry. Now this is really tricky off camera here. You gotta try and keep on the high side. They got a berm down low. As you can see, it's real right around. Down to the bottom. Cross is all done. Now on top side of the track. Actually the fastest part. Up over a little double there. Now this is Bradshaw Boulevard. Coming down pit road. Little jump though. A little bit for me.
I can't think of a better guy to go around this track than Davey Coombs. He owns this place. You ought to know the best way around.
Absolutely. We take a look right now at the Suzuki starting grid. Sebastian Tortelli, the overall leader in the series through 2 events. Mike LaRocco, the veteran, and David Vuillemin. I know you think he's one of the favorites. He rides very well in the mud. Ryan Hughes, John Dowd, another one of the veterans here.
And also John is a great mud rider, and he's riding that KTM 520, so he's got a power advantage on everybody else.
Ezra Lusk, who was red hot during the Supercross season, but has been a bit under the weather here in motocross. Now down the list, there are 40 riders in all.
They give these guys a warm-up lap to take a look at the track, and normally they all take it, but today, because it's so muddy, these guys, a lot of them opted to just stay on the starting line, not add that extra mud to their bike and weigh it down. The track is actually in a lot better shape than I thought it would be. This morning it was awful, but they've done a lot of work with the dozers, but the place is still bad as the starting line. You can see they've scraped it, but it's still pretty deep in mud.
2 events so far in the series as you look at Ricky Carmichael. Both of those were out west in California. The Chevy Trucks point standings after those 2 events. Tortelli in the lead, but Ricky Carmichael right on his heels. Tim Ferry in 3rd and David Vuillemin in 6th ahead of Ryan Hughes. And Carmichael set to go here. Remember, there are 2 motos, 30 minutes in length. Then the 2-lap board comes out, so they end up being about 35 minutes in length. And they are ready at the starting gate, the 30-second board. You saw a moment ago, it will go sideways, and then the gate will go down. For moto number 1 here in the 250 class, and there they go, the uphill start with mud on the camera already. The race for the hole shot up at the top of the hill. The cable cam already with mud on it. It's about 30 feet in the air. And getting the whole shot is 9:34. That's David Vuillemin riding very well early on.
Also Kevin Windham up there, number 16. That's John Dowd. And then Ryan Hughes right behind him. Both those guys on the 4 strokes. 2 2-strokes out front and the 4 strokes behind.
And down, you can see the mud, and down goes a rider already. I believe that was Ezra Lusk a moment ago, as Vuillemin still has the lead. Lusk, number 11, just getting back up on his bike.
He's one of the guys who can contend for the lead here, already back to 40th place. And Vuillemin already looking around. He does that a lot. We call this guy the Cobra. He very kind of coils all around the bike. He uses a lot of body English, and he doesn't quit looking around. I think he should be called Rubberneck. Watch what happens to Ezra Lusk. Normally he would want to take this line right here, but instead he's going to aim to the inside. It's a lot muddier there, and he's going to find out. As soon as the bike lands, no traction at all, and you've heard the term face plant. Well, there's a perfect example.
Here's a face full of mud for you. As you look at Ricky Carmichael, who's had his problems. You see the left leg going high into the air, into that turn, but the first couple of weeks in motocross, not nearly as dominant, certainly, as he was throughout the Supercross season, where he won 13 straight races, 14 in all, tying marks of Jeremy McGrath.
Ooh, good save right there already by Carmichael. That's the kind of stuff he's famous for in the Supercross. Little things like that where he looked like he was going to go down. A good save. These guys wear knee braces, and that's why. I could have just tore his knee back right there. And see him reaching up to try to clear his vision already. Still unable to get around number 16, Dowd, is riding that powerful bike. Didn't ride the indoor Supercross season this year, but Dowd rejoining the National Series. Taking a look at Carmichael. He's coming into this off camber. Front ends and the rear end both sliding a little bit, trying to get set in that rut, using his foot to ski on, just gets it caught. Kind of shoves him to the back, but he's so strong, gets right back into position and doesn't lose any time.
Kevin Windham, number 14, right behind David Vuillemin. Vuillemin, the 23-year-old from Marseille, France, who now lives in Corona, California, 5th last week in Sacramento, and down goes Carmichael on the descent.
And it's still early in the race, so that's going to drop him back there with Lusk.
Carmichael having problems early in Moto number 1, but it's David Vuillemin who has the lead here at High Point Raceway. The sun beginning to shine here in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. The track drying out just a bit. Moto number 1 for the 250s. David Vuillemin has had the lead since the beginning of the race.
You see the rag hanging out of his pants. A lot of the guys have those, and it's just in case they were to go down or for some reason they get too much mud on their glove. It's like having grease on your grips. You can't turn the throttle, so they have that little rag there to grab onto and try to get rid of the mud.
John Dowd, number 16, battling along with number 15, Tim Ferry. Ferry, a Yamaha teammate of David Vuillemin's, as he takes the inside route here in the turn.
And it's 4-stroke against 4-stroke, but Ferry with the better line.
What kind of an impact is the 4-stroke having now in motocross?
Well, you know what? The 4-stroke has always been a heavier, more sluggish bike, but because it looks like the way of the future with emissions and all that, the factories have developed the bike and it's so competitive now that now it's become an issue. So the guys on 2-strokes have an advantage here and there, but the power, we're starting to see that the weight's coming down, the bikes are performing better, and I think they're going to have to look at that rule in the future.
Tim Ferry, number 15, the 26-year-old from Largo, Florida. 3rd in the overall point series so far in the motocross season. Last week he came in 6th out in Hangtown in Sacramento in the heat. He caught up with Davey Coombs a little bit earlier with his thoughts on that race.
Yeah, I felt good the second moto. They got second behind Carmichael, kept him in sight, kind of like Glen Helen. Probably stayed a little closer that weekend. And it was a tough race because it was so hot. And you know, then I had to crash the first moto, so it was a hard race for me. The heat was, I think, you know, taking its toll on everybody.
The heat is not the problem today. It's the rain earlier and the mud, but Tim Ferry riding very well. He's currently in 3rd.
Track has gotten a little bit better, but it's turned into a little bit more of a one-line situation. Right here, number 13, the 3rd rider in line there, Honda's Sebastian Tortelli, is having a fit trying to get around Ryan Hughes there, number 120, and Dowd on the 520 KTM, Ryan Hughes on the brand new 450 Honda, so Tortelli can't even hear himself think. It's loud.
Sebastian Tortelli, the overall leader in this series, the 22-year-old, also from France, like David Vuillemin. Ryan Hughes, number 120, out ahead of that pack right now. Dodd, number 16, and then Sebastian Tortelli. Mike LaRocco, number 5, the 30-year-old veteran from South Bend, Indiana.
He's starting to catch this group, but the problem is the roost, they call it. You know, you saw that our camera got roosted, of course, off the start, so your vision is a problem. You're following those big 4-strokes. Not only do you get hit with that, but it ruins your vision. Plus, it's loud and you can't hear your own bike. So right now, because of this This track is drying out in one spot. There's only one really good line out there, and Tortelli is really having a hard time trying to figure out a way around. You see Morocco there closing the gap.
And you talk about choosing that line, which allows you to catch up or make a pass. Is it even more difficult to pass? You do it differently in the mud here as you look, at the pass in the crack.
Well, there's one way around, just knock the guy down. Tortelli had that inside line. I don't think Dowd realized he was coming. I don't think he was listening. Maybe he couldn't hear it himself because his bike was so loud, but Tortelli had the inside. I don't think he needed to go that wide. He had the pass made, but here's another look. Watch. All he had to do was just come down here, connect up with the berm, and stay in the best line. The pass is made. If he goes wide, almost goes down himself, and just sends Dowd to the turf. And luckily for Morocco, his bike went one way and Dowd went the other, cleared a nice path.
Yeah, Morocco had to move his line to get around that bike. Meanwhile, David Vuillemin rolling here through moto number 1. Number 934 has had the lead since the beginning.
And his line choice has just been phenomenal so far. It looks like he's riding a better racetrack than everybody else. With all the body English I talked about him having, he's able to search and get the best traction, and he's just pulling away from these guys.
Ryan Hughes, the battle with Tortelli. Hughes the last couple of seasons riding internationally outdoors, did not ride in the Supercross series this season.
He had a little bit of an injury too with his wrist, decided to get some surgery and decided might as well just stay healthy. He's the test pilot for that new Honda 4-stroke, be 100% for the outdoor season, and I don't think Tortelli will knock him down the way he did John Dowd, their teammates. Whoa.
Maybe he will. They touched wheels there for a moment. Tortelli with the pass ahead of Hughes. This is the battle right now for 4th place, and Tortelli has it at the moment.
He's not the type of guy that'll give up, but he really struggled at the first round. He had a little bit of arm pump. In the second round, his goggles actually had a problem. He had to take them off in the first lap. Then in Hangtown, he crashed a few times. So maybe today he's just trying to settle in and hitch a ride with Tortelli. Look at Tortelli. Cuts across the line of Hughes. Hughes racing him for it there. I don't know if he realized he was coming either, because that was almost a contact there, and I think Hughes was going to get the worst end of the deal, just like Dowd did.
Moto certainly not a non-contact sport. Sebastian Tortelli, the overall series leader, keeping it upright, chasing down David Vuillemin. Moto number 1 continues here at High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. The battle for 5th place right now. Ryan Hughes, number 120, trying to hold off Mike Morocco, number 5 in the mud. Morocco gaining on Hughes, who was just passed a moment ago, you may remember, by Sebastian Tortelli.
Hughes, all that power sliding back and forth, crossing over the line of Morocco. Nice move, just kind of splits to the inside, catches Ryan just cruising through that sweeper. And again, Ryan has that same kind of aggressiveness that we saw from Carmichael all during the indoor Supercross season. He rides a lot of hard, he rides a little bit on the edge, and he's not riding like that right now.
And Morocco, a veteran who's known for his come from behind finishes, or races at least. He can start almost dead last and seems to just gain and pass riders throughout the day. Well, the reminder tomorrow night here on ABC Sports, Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and the Devils repeat as champions. They battle for Lord Stanley's Cup tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on ABC Sports. Look at number 14, Kevin Windham, moving up, passing a lapped rider right now.
Well, it looked like he was in the clear. Once Vuillemin started to pull away, it looked like Kevin was going, well, I can't hang with that, but second looks pretty solid. Not now. Tim Ferry is on the move. He won the opening round. Everybody was like, maybe that was a little bit of a surprise. And then Hangtown, he struggled a little bit, but I think he's showing here that he has the kind of speed to go after the win of motos and overall wins. Definitely a threat for the title. Finished off the indoor Supercross season with a lot of momentum. Brought that right in here to the outdoor season, and Kevin can feel it.
Davey Coombs is with Ferry's mechanic right now.
Well, Brian, it looks like Tim has a hook in the 2nd place rider, Kevin Windham.
Well, we're gaining a little bit of time every lap. Lappers are starting to be a little bit of a factor. He's just got to be able to steer clear of those guys and keep on his pace, and I think we may get him.
I know Tim won a national here back in 1995. The conditions were exactly the same. Was he hating the rain this morning, or did he seem to like it?
He didn't have too much trouble this morning. He's actually having some fun out there. It looks like it's going to start dumping here pretty quick, so I think he's going to enjoy himself and hopefully come back in Moto 2.
He's doing a pretty good job here in Moto 1. You see that black strip on the top of Wyndham's helmet? That's foam. Mud won't stick to that, and that's what you,
Oh, Wyndham goes down. Mud will stick to that. There goes Ferry into second place as Wyndham gets that front wheel just stuck in that mud.
He came into that berm a little bit hot. He was also coming on the inside, which made that a little bit more of abrupt of an impact with the berm. And I think he was feeling the pressure of Ferry back there and was just trying to cover that inside so he wouldn't get blocked back.
Ferry making all the right decisions and moves right now in second place behind David Vuillemin.
And look at Kevin. See, the berm got pushed out. He wanted to make contact right there. He comes in a little bit late, hits the berms where they join, and that berm is built up. It's about 2 feet high. He just grabbed the bike and threw him off the high side.
Much steeper, too, than it looks on TV coming down that hill. So Ferry around the turn. And to further your point, the strip on the helmet, the foam, the mud won't stick to that. So it's all about keeping the helmet from getting very heavy, right?
Well, yeah, it can get so heavy, actually, that it pushes it down. It pushes your goggles down as well. And also, you know, your visor gets in the way. See, Ferry's got some mud up there, but very little. And they also use that foam in places on the motorcycle, too, to keep the mud out of the foot pegs and in the brake pedals so they can still work the control.
Now, you remember Ricky Carmichael had the crash early in this moto. At that point, he was second from last, way back. But he is up to 13th right now, picking off one rider after another. Making a move is Carmichael. With more on that, here is Davey.
Just a minute ago, Ricky Carmichael's mechanic, Chad Watts, told us that this was no way to win a championship, losing 20 points at a time. Well, as it stands right now, Ricky's going to lose 18 points. He's worked his way up into 13th place. That's still a long way from the top 5, but he has been able to salvage a little bit of points here in a terrible first moto.
See Ricky looking around there. I think what he's looking at is Vuillemin coming around possibly to lap him. In 13th place, Vuillemin's not far from putting Ricky a lap down. That wouldn't affect his points or anything, but I don't think he wants that to happen. See Vuillemin working himself around to that same section where Ricky just was. And in each of the first 3 motos of this series, Ricky has probably passed more riders than he's passed in the last couple of years.
The bad part of that is he's had to pass more riders to try to come back. But Vuillemin on the final lap here at a high point. He has led since the start of Moto number 1, just cruising along here.
It looks like he's cruising. I'll tell you, it makes it look so easy. This is the best I've seen him ride in this series for sure, maybe all year. He's had an injury-riddled season, ribs, and high expectations as the season started back in January, but he really hasn't been able to get up to speed, and now we're seeing his potential.
Last season was a great one for David Vuillemin, but you mentioned the injuries, had a broken collarbone, and it kept him out for over a month of the Supercross series, but here he is approaching the finish line in Moto number 1. Vuillemin, the wire-to-wire winner. He takes the checkered flag. The pump of the fist. 1 down, 1 to go. Number 934, the winner. And it's his teammate, Tim Ferry, the Yamaha teammate, who finishes right behind him. And there is Ferry, number 15, pulls up right beside Vuillemin. So Yamaha goes 1-2 here in the first moto of the day at High Point.
Vuillemin riding the 2-stroke, Ferry on the 4-stroke. Wyndham pulling up right there. Did a nice job recovering after that crash to hold off Honda's Tortelli.
Tortelli knocking a few riders out of the way en route to that 4th place finish here in Moto number 1. Vuillemin, Ferry, Wyndham, Tortelli, and LaRocco, your top 5 in the first moto of the day. Davey Coombs has caught up with the winner, David Vuillemin.
David, that was a fantastic ride. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks a lot. You know, I got a great outshot, and you know, my Yamaha was really good, and I was hoping for the rain because you know I like the mud here in High Point, and you know it's very kind of slippery and pretty dry now, and I'm happy to win on this condition. And you know, I've been struggling all year, and it's very happy to win a moto here.
Your teammate Tim Ferry came up and got second in the second moto. Does that surprise you?
No, you know, Timmy's been riding great lately, and you know, his 426 is you know, unbelievable, and I think it would be great to be on top of the podium tonight with him.
Good job, David.
Thanks a lot.
And his teammate Tim Ferry, who is charging late in the Supercross season, now riding extremely well early on in the motocross season. Ferry finishes second, and he has joined Davey Coombs right now.
Well, Tim, you just keep this streak going. That's your 4th second place finish in 5 motos this year.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I'm still looking for that Moto win, but I kind of lost a lot of ground that first 3 or 4 laps, and I'm happy to come out with second. I was trying to put the pressure on Kevin to get by him, because I know a second place is a lot better when he goes for the overall for the second moto. So second's a lot better than third, and I'm pretty happy with the way it went.
Back in 1995, you won the 125 National here with a 2-2. Think a second place will get you the win this time again?
I don't know. David was riding really good that time, and it's cool to see a couple of Yamaha guys up front. And he's kind of had a rough couple races, and it's good to see both of us up here and try to get the Yamahas back out front again. We'll see what happens.
Well, the clouds are building. Will the rains hold off here at High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania? Moto number 2 is next. Everybody to the High Point Raceway here in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. Terry Gannon, David Bailey back with you. The first moto for the 250s having taken place. You like David Vuillemin early on. Vuillemin was strong. He dominated.
Well, the thing I like about Vuillemin is his line choice. And in the mud, it's so important to be able to find those places where you don't get hung up too much, where it's not too slick. And he was just perfect. It looked like it was a dry racetrack for him. And a good job for Kevin Windham there to ride really hard down the stretch, holding off Sebastian Portelli.
Problems again for Carmichael, though, at this racetrack.
I know. I really thought he had a good chance to erase all those problems of the past today, but he was a little bit impatient, I think, trying to get around John Dowd. Dowd is fast. He's done well here before. He's on that powerful 4-stroke. I think Ricky should have waited a little.
Moto number 2 for the 250s coming up in just a bit. The 125 action has already taken place. A lot of big names out there on the track, including Travis Pastrana. Let's take a look back at the highlights from that action right now. As they got ready in the starting gate, the overall points leader, Grant Langston, had mechanical problems. The start was delayed, but they get off and running uphill with that left-hand turn in Moto number 1, the race for the whole shot.
And the surprise leader was Akira Narita, the Japanese rider who doesn't ride all the races. Passed right there by Travis Pastrana, who loves the mud.
Langston with that downhill left-hand turn. He had a very good second half of the season in Supercross, continuing. He's won all 4 motos to this point in the motocross season. Narita hanging on, though. Pastrana had the lead, but that was a great battle and one that nobody really expected, David.
Well, what was a surprise was the fact that Narita held on to Travis's pace. They just gapped third. They had over 10 seconds on third place.
And the checkered flag out, Travis Pastrana with the heels up in the air to click him with the win over Akira Narita. Ernesto Fonseca, who won the 125 West Division of Supercross, finishing third ahead of Kelly Smith. And the big story, Grant Langston having finished 10th, so he had a lot of ground to make up in Moto number 2. Travis Pastrana, Akira Narita again going head-to-head, but Narita with some problems there on that landing. Pastrana takes the lead.
And the pace proved to be a little bit too much for Narita. Loses the front end right there, goes down and hands over second place to Mike Brown, number 100.
Narita back on the bike, though, trying to come back. He was really the surprise of the day, no question about it, in the 125 class.
Here's Langston getting around Danny Smith for third. That was as far as he could go in the second moto, so still losing more points to Pastrana.
So Travis Pastrana, the freestyle gold medalist the past couple of seasons, with the no hands landing as he crosses the finish line, takes the checkered flag. A perfect afternoon here at High Point Raceway. Michael Brown with the second place finish. Grant Langston moved up to third, and overall Pastrana 2 wins in 2 motos. And the overall series, boy, the battle's been engaged now. Pastrana gaining 19 points on Langston. He's with Davey Coombs right now.
You grew up right down the road in Annapolis, Maryland. How does it feel to get your first professional win here at High Point?
No, it definitely feels good. I mean, all my friends and family are here, and man, the whole way around the track, I can just hear the crowd. So, man, it's just really an amazing feeling, and I'm off to a second start, I guess, here on the East Coast.
Pretty good future for that teenager, right? Don't you think?
I would say, yeah, he's 17. He's already won the indoor championship, the outdoor championship. He's on his way to possibly the championship this year.
Set to go for Moto number 2 now in the 250 class. You like David Vuillemin in the first Moto. What are your thoughts here?
Well, you heard him say that he was really hoping that it would rain. He likes the mud. Now the track's drier, so you got about 4 or 5 other guys that can sneak in there and ride his pace, especially Ricky Carmichael, who's got to be really disappointed after the first moto performance.
Carmichael in the first 2 races of the season won the second moto both times. Down goes the gate and the riders are off. Up the hill and the battle for the whole shot. At the front of the pack, Kevin Windham and John Dowd going head-to-head. Windham on the inside, number 14, and he gets the lead.
A little better line in that next corner. Carmichael right there in third. Again, Ryan Hughes and Dowd on the 4 strokes up front.
Wyndham, the 23-year-old from Centerville, Mississippi, as the riders come through the mud, over the berm, and down the hill. Boy, you got to look at how dangerous that can be, too.
Yeah, the further back in the pack you get, the more scary it is in that first lap when everyone's together and it's hard to see.
Yeah, vision's certainly a problem in that mud. As you see Carmichael battling with Ryan Hughes, number 120. Hughes gets ahead of Ricky Carmichael, but there goes Carmichael on the inside, and he takes the edge there.
Well, there's not many guys that have passed Carmichael this year, and Hughes has already done it several times in this series. Carmichael usually gets by him in the end, but still, Hughes, I talked about how aggressive he is. There you get an example. He doesn't care how many races Carmichael's won. He's going after him. You see Vuillemin went by in that shot. He's still, looks like he's in about 5th there. He's got to look at the leaders here, but it's going to be tough to get around Carmichael.
And you mentioned the leaders. A heck of a start here with really the top contenders and the top names all up near the lead. There's the battle for second place. Ricky Carmichael, John Dowd. Ooh, and RC taking it wide there.
And Dowd not able to hook up on that slick surface. Track starting to dry out. He got a little wheel spin, so the 250. Carmichael out horsepowers him up the hill, but Carmichael's a lot lighter than Dowd too, so weight plays a big. Look at how off camber that corner is. And that shot, I love that camera angle. You can really see how difficult it is to make that corner.
And they're just trying to hang on. If you look at Hughes and then Vuillemin, who won the first moto, don't forget, you combine the 2 motos, and then the overall points, it gives you your leader, 25 points for a first place finish, 22 for second place, 20 for third in each moto.
Hughes getting around Dowd early this time, and I think, you know, I talked about he rode a little bit more conservatively in the first moto than he has in the series so far. Trying not to make mistakes, trying to just get some points, stay up front. This time I expect him to be a lot more aggressive, and already getting around Dowd early.
But there goes Vuillemin, number 934, taking the inside route. Dowd comes right back.
That's a pretty good example of the horsepower that Vuillemin pretty much had that pass made. Looks like he's going to get him here in the end, and Dowd was able to just out horsepower him and get him right back.
You see this crowd looking on. Well, they've endured some showers throughout the afternoon. The sun came out, now clouds once again, looking ominous here at High Point Raceway. The conditions changing throughout the day, and hence the track changing throughout the day.
Now, these guys are so skilled. Normally the tracks change about every 2 or 3 laps, but today, because of the mud, it's even worse.
We'll continue from High Point in a moment. In Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, High Point Raceway as moto number 2 continues, and a look right now at the battle for 5th place. Mike LaRocco and John Dowd going head to head. Number 16 is Dowd. There's LaRocco on the inside.
Oh, look at Dowd. Squares him off, gets into that inside line. Wow. Just parks LaRocco into the berm. LaRocco does a good job to save that. Now look at Tortelli, number 13, moving up. He got around Roncada. He's going to make this battle even tighter.
Dowd and LaRocco, 2 guys who have been around a long time, and Dowd had some problems with injuries, did not ride in the Supercross series, didn't know if he'd have a ride in motocross.
That Tortelli gets around LaRocco now and even closer to Dowd, and I'll tell you what, John has not been a factor up front, but he has been going fast enough to make things tough for these guys. Tortelli and LaRocco have been riding all year long.
And Dowd raced very well last year here at High Point. He won the 2nd moto that day, finished 3rd overall.
He is definitely fast in the mud, a strong rider, but he's trying to race his way into shape here. He doesn't have the pace to stay with these guys for the whole moto, but I think we can see that he's fast for a few laps, and it won't be long before he's faster for the whole moto. And the next round will be in Massachusetts in the sand. That's his home track. I wouldn't be surprised if he won a moto there, Terry.
You see Tortelli, though, right now making a move, number 13. Remember, Sebastian Tortelli is the overall series leader. Coming in, he was in first place, and there goes number 13. Makes the pass on Dowd.
That's not Dowd making a mistake or riding poorly. That's just Tortelli really on the gas. Here comes LaRocco. He's going to try that inside. It's not as fast of a timing through there. Dowd hangs on to it. Now they got Ferry chasing him down. Ferry's second in the first moto. He's got the speed. He may be faster than all these guys.
Good look high above from our cable cam as they go up the hill and then come back down the hill. Sebastian Tortelli, a 2-time world motocross champion, has made up a lot of ground here in moto number 2. Back at High Point Raceway, Kevin Wyndham, the current leader.
Now Kevin is just pulled away. He's got Carmichael back there in second. Slowly starting to reel him in, but Kevin likes this racetrack. This was Kevin's first ever national pro race, and he led the moto. It was in the 125 class. He held off the eventual champion, Doug Henry, all the way until the last lap, so he has had good luck here.
Mike LaRocco being passed by Tim Ferry. LaRocco had 6th place, but there goes Ferry. Remember, he placed second in moto number 1.
He is really on fire right now. When the gate dropped, Ferry had stalled the bike. When the sign went sideways, he stalled it. When everyone took off, he was still kicking the bike. He took off dead last. At the end of the first lap, he was already up well inside the top 20 and already getting around LaRocco here. What a ride.
Ever happened to you?
Everything's happened to me, Terry. As a matter of fact, here at this track, in 1982, I fell in the first lap in both motos, came from dead last, and finished second both times. Back then it was a 45-minute moto. I had a little bit more time, but still, I know how Ferry feels right now.
You were never lapped here at this racetrack, were you?
Why'd you have to bring that up?
Only once.
Who told you that?
In his career.
Yeah, but it was by the legendary Bob Hanna, so it's okay.
The sun now shining here at High Point Raceway. Clouds and sunshine intermixed throughout the day. Some showers early on, but the track really drying out now. If you look at number 13 right there, Sebastian Tortelli, right on the heels of Ryan Hughes, number 120.
You can already see a little bit of dust starting to kick up. And Tortelli has really been moving through the pack, but Ferry moving a little quicker, and I guarantee you Ryan Hughes can feel this now. And once again, Tortelli sandwiched by the 4-strokes, the louder bikes. He may consider going to earplugs if this keeps happening.
You think that does have an effect on a rider?
Absolutely, especially when on the starting line. You can't even hear your own bike. But right there, he gets a strong drive out of that corner and actually out horsepowers Ryan Hughes up the hill. Tortelli on the 250, Ryan Hughes on the 450, so that tells you how fast Tortelli got around that corner.
Oh, it's a great look there. You get an idea of how high they get on those berms and how fast they are going.
Tortelli won't be happy with this. Carmichael out in second place, chasing down Wyndham for the win. And, you know, in Tortelli's mind and Carmichael, they're only worried about each other. They don't care about everybody else. They feel like they are the ones in contention for this championship. And Tortelli's going to lose some points here. He won't be happy.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, especially in the mud, having clear vision is the key for a rider out there. How do they keep their vision clear? With more on that, let's go down again and check in with Davey Coombs.
The rain may come and go today here at High Point, but the search for good vision is going to be ongoing. Since conditions are kind of muddy, the riders are going to be taking a lot of roost back in their face. Makes it hard to see through your goggles. A lot of them choose to wear something like this. These are Scott goggles with roll-offs. Whenever you get your face roasted and get covered with dirt, all you do is pull this cord. A couple times like that. There you have it. Good vision all over again.
All right, Davey, thanks. And look at the battle for 5th place right now. Hughes and Ferry. Back to the goggles for a moment, though. At this point, with the track drying out a little bit, how important is that?
Well, it doesn't matter much now, but when they were in staging for this moto, it was actually raining a little bit, so these guys wanted to be on the safe side, and it turns out that they lucked out with the weather, and they don't really need that unless they get a bad start. So it never hurts to be safe, and Ferry gets around Ryan Hughes, moves up another spot. It's still a long ways behind this battle.
Kevin Wyndham, number 14. Early on, he got the whole shot ahead of John Dowd, and he has not looked back. He continues to lead moto number 2. Nearing the end of moto number 2 here at High Point Raceway, Ricky Carmichael right on the heels of Kevin Wyndham. Carmichael trying to battle for that lead as Wyndham looks to hold him off. And there goes Carmichael on the inside, passing Wyndham. Ricky Carmichael in front now.
That is a steep downhill, Terry. It takes a lot of nerve to go down there as fast as Carmichael did on the inside. He knew he was going to drift wide. He just had to make sure he got just enough ahead of Wyndham. I don't think it would have hurt Ricky's feelings if he just parked and ran Kevin Wyndham clear down there into the woods. He is not messing around this moto.
Well, you know, Wyndham's been around. He's no rookie, but you turn around and you see number 4 right behind you. That's a lot of pressure.
It's intimidating, and for this whole lapped rider getting out of control, out of the way of these guys, but yeah.
That's one way of getting out of the way. I'm not sure it was the way he planned.
Well, look at the pass for the lead. Wyndham was trying to cut across there and aim for that berm. That's what he's been doing, but he could hear Carmichael coming. All he could really do was just stay out of the way. Carmichael trying to just run him off the track there, make sure he made that pass stick. Now I think Kevin's going to just try to keep the pressure on Ricky, maybe learn a few things from him where he was making up time. He's not out of it for this moto win yet.
Meanwhile, Davey Coombs is caught up with the man who's got to be very happy right now, Chad Watts, the mechanic for Ricky Carmichael. Davey?
Well, Chad, right up to that last lap, this has not been you and Ricky's best day, but you're back in front where you've been most of the season.
Yeah, the first motos are not cooperating with us due to bad starts and taking every soil sample from here to the West Coast. We're not doing too good in the first motos, but he's bouncing back the second motos and trying to make the best of it. We got to start knocking some 1-1s off next round.
Hey, how was Ricky between motos? He looked pretty disappointed when he rode off the track.
Not in the greatest mood in the world.
The man has high expectations. As we look back in the pack, the battle for 8th place between Stefan Roncada and Mike LaRocco.
That outside line has been working a little bit better all day, and he gets around him, so he was able to triple into the corner. And LaRocco's not really known necessarily for his supercross skills. That's more of a supercross indoor man-made style part of the racetrack where normally Roncada shines. See, he's going to go over that double right there, but LaRocco's going to go through that one and triple into the corner. A little bit faster line. Roncada was just trying to protect the inside, but it didn't work.
Still early in the season, and how much of an adjustment is that to make from the Supercross season out to the motocross?
These guys make adjustments all year long. It's just that some guys shine a little bit better outdoors and some guys shine a little more indoors. Lusk, for example, does better in Supercross. LaRocco does a little bit better outdoors and gets around him here to take over 7th.
And don't forget our coverage of round 3 of the AMA Chevy Trucks U.S. Motocross Championships continues next Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific over on ESPN2. Mike LaRocco just made a move on Ezra Lusk to overtake 7th place, and down goes LaRocco.
He has had a tough day. 5th in the first moto, battling for 7th here. Goes down, he's going to lose a position. And the championship has got to be feeling like it's slipping away a little bit, Terry. I mean, LaRocco's capable of more. He's going to have to get better starts and get up front, or it's over.
What happened here?
Well, he gets into the corner hot. Watch his rear end. Hops, gets out over the berm, and then all the weight goes to the front end. It wasn't straight in that rut. That rut's about 1.5 feet deep.
But up ahead, Ricky Carmichael continues to fly. Can he hold on to the lead? We'll find out. Well, the day did not begin like Ricky Carmichael wanted it to, but the final lap underway here, and he leads moto number 2, RC. Last year's motocross champion, won the 250 Supercross championship this season. What a year it has been. And he has won the first 2 weeks of the season in the second moto, and it looks like he may hang on to win again. Kevin Windham currently in 2nd place chasing him.
Kevin will be disappointed with this because the overall was in his grasp until Carmichael passed him. That's going to probably give it to Vuillemin if he can stay where he is. Vuillemin running 4th right now. And Carmichael, I can tell you right now, he's not going to be happy with the way the day went. He'll be happy that he proved himself again in the second moto. 3rd week in a row that he's proved that he's the fastest rider on the track, but he's got to square away that first moto or he's going to lose the championship.
Why do you think he's had problems in the first moto so far?
I think it's overconfidence. You know, he was just on a roll coming into the season, and each time that he's had problems in the first moto, he has crashed. He's caused his own trouble.
But the checkered flag is out, and Ricky Carmichael across the finish line to win moto number 2. Maybe he's got to be angry to ride well. You can't say he's not a closer. 3 weeks in a row, he has won moto number 2. Carmichael gets the win. Kevin Windham places 2nd. He won't be happy with that. He had a chance to be the overall winner today here in High Point. Sebastian Tortelli, the overall series leader, places 3rd here. Well, Ricky Carmichael has joined Davey Coombs right now.
Well, RC, way to rebound from a terrible first moto here at High Point.
Thanks a lot, Davey. I guess luck ain't on my side, but I pulled through that moto. The Bridgestone tires hooked up good off the gate, and Kevin was making me work there for a little bit, and I had to get flowing, and then once I got going, I got by him and kind of rode my own race. Pretty disappointed in myself, but you know, I believe I can get it going, so I'm going to go home and these 2 weeks off and work hard and try to go 1-1 at Southwick.
After 14 wins in the Supercross series, it has been an inconsistent ride here in the outdoors. However, you've won the second moto each of the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, I got the best win percentage moto wins in the outdoor, but that 10-1 every weekend ain't going to cut it for the championship. And So last weekend, I know what to do. I just need to do it, and looking to be on the top podium next weekend.
Well, overall, it's David Vuillemin with a first and fourth place finish. The two motos combined, he gets the overall victory ahead of Wyndham and Tortelli. And in the battle of four strokes, Tim Ferry on his Yamaha able to outdo Ryan Hughes on his Honda. Right now, Davey is with David Vuillemin.
Well, David, it's been a year, but I'm proud to say welcome back to the winner's circle.
Yeah, I think the last race I won is here last year, so 1 year is a long time, and I'm very happy, and I did not get a great start second moto, and I caught up to third, and Sebastian passed me. It was very, very fast, and I did not think I was getting the overall, and I'm very happy for that, and for all the team who they've been working really, really hard, and just very happy, and just now just keep working and working to get more in shape.
What is it about you guys from France in the mud? You always seem to do well, especially here at High Point.
Yeah, I think it wasn't so muddy today. His second motor was like dry. The first motor was kind of greasy, but we used to that in GP, and I don't know, we've been riding in the mud a lot, and I think we are very motivated, especially me, because like I said, I did pretty bad this year, and very happy to finally win a race.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Davey, a look at the Chevy Truck Series standings right now. Sebastian Tortelli still with the lead over Kevin Wyndham. Tim Ferry currently in third place. Remember, there are 12 events in all. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Keyword ABC Sports. For Davey Coombs and David Bailey, I'm Terry Gannon. This is a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence.